The room was dark, but Michael could see the girl clearly. She was no older than 16, her hands tied, her face streaked with tears. His stomach churned as his father, Siyama, laughed, telling his men to prepare the shipment. Michael froze, knowing this wasn't the first girl, just one of many. And if he didn't do something, it wouldn't be the last. Michael had always known his father wasn't a good man. Siyama was the richest and most feared man in Wumtal, a small village in Nigeria. People avoided him because they knew what he did: drugs, human trafficking, anything that made money. The police didn't bother him, he paid them off. The villagers didn't speak out, they were too scared. For years, Michael had ignored it, pretending it wasn't his problem. But when he accidentally found out his father had taken a girl from the neighboring village, a girl he had seen at the market just days before, something snapped in him. He couldn't stay silent anymore. "Father, this has to stop," Michael said one evening, his voice shaking but firm. Siyama looked up from his glass of whiskey, his face hard. "Stop what?" "The girls. The drugs. Everything. You're destroying lives." Siyama laughed, a cold, sharp sound. "And who are you to judge me? You eat the food my money buys. You sleep in the house I built. Don't act like you're better than me." Michael clenched his fist. "I don't want any of it. I can't live like this." "Then leave," Siyama said, his voice dropping low. "But if you stand against me, you'll regret it." Michael didn't leave. Instead, he started gathering information. He listened to his father's conversations, watched where the trucks went, and wrote everything down. It was dangerous, but he couldn't stop. One night, Michael snuck into his father's office and took photos of documents showing the names of buyers and routes for smuggling drugs and people. With this evidence, he traveled to the nearest city and met with a journalist who had a reputation for exposing criminals. The journalist promised to help, but warned him, "If your father finds out, he won't just stop at threats." The story broke a week later. The article detailed Siyama's crimes, naming him as one of the most notorious traffickers in the region. The authorities, under pressure from the public, raided his properties. Siyama didn't go quietly. His men fought back, but eventually, he was arrested. When Siyama saw Michael standing outside, watching as he was taken away in handcuffs, his face twisted with rage. "You think you've won?" Siyama spat. "You're no son of mine." Michael didn't flinch. "I'd rather be nothing than your son." Wumtal was quiet after Siyama's arrest. People began to speak freely, no longer afraid. Michael knew his life would never be the same. He had betrayed his own father. But for the first time, he felt free. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew one thing: he had done the right thing. And that was enough.